It was a warm Sunday afternoon when Captain Angela Morris, a highly respected officer in the Atlanta Police Department, finally decided to take a rare day off. For once, she wasn't in uniform, wasn't commanding a precinct, and wasn't chasing reports or meetings. She was simply Angela. A black woman in jeans, a plain white shirt, and her favorite sneakers, running errands and grabbing lunch at a local shopping plaza. She parked her black SUV outside a grocery store, humming softly as she got out. Her badge and firearm were tucked safely in her crossbody bag, just in case. But today, she wanted peace. No drama, no police work, just peace. As she loaded groceries into her car, she noticed a commotion a few spaces down. A police cruiser had pulled over a young Latino man driving a beat-up Toyota. The man looked nervous. Angela watched quietly for a few moments. The officer, tall, white, mid-30s, was visibly agitated, barking orders as if the man had committed a serious crime. Angela frowned. She had seen that posture before, the aggressive stance, the hand hovering too close to the gun. It wasn't professional. It was intimidation. She considered walking over to de-escalate, but decided to mind her own business. That is, until the situation found her. A few minutes later, as Angela closed her trunk, she accidentally dropped one of her grocery bags. A few apples rolled under a nearby car. She crouched to pick them up, and that's when she heard a voice shout, "Hey! What are you doing there? Step away from that vehicle!" Angela turned to see Officer David Carter, the same cop from earlier, storming toward her, hand already gripping his taser. His eyes narrowed and his tone was sharp, too sharp for a simple misunderstanding. "Excuse me," Angela said, standing upright. "I said step away from that car. I just watched you crouch down by that man's vehicle. You trying to hide something? Or maybe steal something?" Angela blinked, startled. "I was picking up my groceries. That's my car right there." But Carter didn't listen. "Let me see your ID now," she sighed, keeping her tone calm. "Officer, I haven't done anything wrong." "You're making a mistake." Carter's face darkened. "Don't tell me what kind of mistake I'm making. Hands where I can see them." People began to watch from a distance, phones discreetly recording. Angela raised her hands slightly, trying to diffuse the tension. "Sir, I don't want any trouble. I'm just going to grab my—" Before she could finish, Carter lunged forward, grabbing her wrist, then shoving her against the car door. His other hand shot up to her throat, pressing it hard enough to make her gasp. "Don't move," he barked. "You resisting arrest now?" Angela's eyes widened, her breath catching, the audacity, the disrespect. She could feel her pulse pounding, not just from anger but disbelief. He doesn't even know who I am. Her training kicked in. She didn't fight back. Not yet. She simply said, calm but firm, "Officer Carter, you are making a grave mistake." "Oh yeah?" he sneered. "And what's that supposed to mean?" "Because," she said, her voice low and steady, "you're assaulting your superior officer." He froze. "What?" Angela reached slowly into her bag, pulled out her badge, and held it inches from his face. "Captain Angela Morris, Atlanta Police Department, Internal Affairs Division." Carter's eyes went wide. His hand dropped from her throat as if it had been burned. "Ma'am, Captain, I didn't—" he stammered, stepping back in horror. The crowd murmured. Several people were filming openly now. Angela adjusted her shirt, her calmness somehow more intimidating than shouting ever could. "You didn't—" "What, Officer Carter?" she said coldly. "Didn't realize that choking an unarmed black woman in broad daylight might be a problem? Didn't realize you'd be held accountable?" He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Angela took a step closer, her eyes unblinking. "I've seen your type before, quick to pull rank, slow to use reason. You think authority gives you the right to humiliate others. It doesn't." She looked at the bystanders. "Thank you all for recording. Please don't delete that footage. The department will need it." Within minutes, 2 more patrol cars arrived after a call for officer backup. But when they saw who was standing there, their expressions shifted instantly. "Captain Morris?" one of them said, confused. "That's right," she said, her tone icy. "This officer just assaulted me in public." Carter's face turned pale. "Captain, please. I didn't know—" "That's the problem, Officer Carter," she cut in sharply. "You didn't know. You didn't ask. You just acted." She turned to one of the arriving officers. "Sergeant, place him on immediate administrative suspension pending investigation. I'll file my report directly to Chief Daniels by end of day." "Yes, ma'am," the sergeant replied, his tone respectful but uneasy. Carter was led away, visibly shaken. The crowd began to applaud quietly, not for drama, but for justice. That night, as Angela sat at home, she stared at her reflection in the dark window. Even as a captain, even with decades of service and medals to her name, she had still been seen. Not as an officer, not as a leader, but as a black woman up to no good. She sighed, whispering to herself, "If that's how they treat one of their own, what chance does the public have?" The next morning, she walked into headquarters, her head high. She filed her report, detailed, factual, and damning. A week later, Officer Carter was not only suspended, but under federal review for excessive force. But that wasn't the end. Angela pushed for new training reforms, mandatory empathy and bias training, stricter accountability measures, and body cams that couldn't be turned off during public interactions. Months later, when the story hit the news, cop assaults off-duty captain, faces investigation, Angela didn't feel vindictive. She felt hopeful, because maybe, just maybe, this incident would open the eyes of those who refused to see what she had known all her life. That justice shouldn't depend on who you are. It should depend on what's right. And sometimes it takes being choked by your own system to make it finally start breathing again.